Stop. You haven't subscribed to the channel yet? Subscribe now. We have new stories every day. Now let's go. Story 1. Caught my wife cheating with 2 guys, so I ruined them all and got revenge. Hello, everyone. I'm Jacob33M, and before I delve into my story, here's my question. What would you do if you walked in on your wife, whom you trusted completely, making out with 2 men on your bed? Yeah, it's one of those stories. Let me explain how it all began. The first time I met my wife, Sarah, 29F, was at a movie theater. I had gone with a group of friends to catch a new release, and she was there with her girls' gang. We hit it off right away. Soon, we started seeing each other regularly, and after a year of dating, we got married. What started as a casual friendship blossomed into what I believed was a deep, loving marriage. But life had a cruel twist waiting for me. At the beginning of our marriage, it felt like being married to Sarah was the biggest blessing. We were happy, and I did everything in my power to support her dreams and make her feel valued. Sarah was sweet, supportive, and smart. Honestly, I thought she was the perfect woman. She had a great personality, was a fantastic cook, and she got a spark that lit up my life. But what I loved most was her supposed honesty, so I thought. Sarah worked at a fast food restaurant while I, a graphic designer, worked for a company that printed banners, billboards, and other designs. Our incomes were decent, but I shouldered most of the financial load at home as Sarah wanted to pursue her passion for acting. Before we got married, she had told me that her lifelong dream was to become an actress. Her parents, unfortunately, didn't support her aspirations, so she went to college for something else. But once we were married, she asked if I'd be okay with her reigniting her passion for acting. I was supportive after all. I understood what it felt like to sacrifice dreams for practicality. We decided to delay having kids so she could attend theater school and focus on building her acting career. Sarah was genuinely talented. She'd taken acting courses and watched countless tutorials online before I met her. So when she started volunteering for local plays and drama clubs, I encouraged her. I wanted to see her succeed. For the first year of our marriage, everything was smooth. She applied for various acting gigs but couldn't land anything significant. Then after our first anniversary, she finally got a break. One day, Sarah received an offer to audition for a local play. She was ecstatic, and I was thrilled for her. She passed the audition and was cast in a supporting role. The rehearsals were held on weekends, and they paid fairly well. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Sarah was still her bubbly self, updating me on all the happenings at rehearsals. But as time went on, things started to change. Her rehearsals began taking up more and more of her time. We started spending less time together, and I noticed a distance growing between us. While I tried to distract myself with video games and hanging out with friends, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. My friends picked up on it too. Eric, one of my closest friends, warned me that Sarah might be involved with someone at the play. He even mentioned rumors of women sleeping with directors to land better roles. I didn't believe him after all. Sarah was talented and dedicated. Why would she need to do that? But his words lingered in the back of my mind. Weeks passed, and Sarah's behavior became even more suspicious. She started dressing differently, wearing more revealing outfits on rehearsal days and changing her hairstyle frequently. She also became defensive, snapping at me for making jokes that used to crack her up. Our conversations felt forced, and she spent an alarming amount of time on her phone, claiming she was talking to her co-actors. One night, things took a turn when she came home late after telling me she was going to a birthday party for one of her co-stars. She claimed she had crashed at a nearby hotel because it was too late to drive home. When I asked why she didn't tell me earlier, she brushed it off, saying she had mentioned it, but I wasn't listening. My gut told me she was lying, but I needed proof. That's when I decided to hire a private investigator, PI. I hated the idea of someone following my wife, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong. For a week, the PI followed Sarah, documenting her every move. On the 3rd day, the PI informed me that Sarah had spent the night at her affair partner's apartment. She had lied about staying in a hotel after the birthday party. I felt my world shatter, but the worst was yet to come. When I returned from a trip to visit my parents, I met with the PI, who showed me photos and videos that left me speechless. Sarah had been cheating on me with a blonde guy. They were photographed making out in cars, going shopping, and even spending nights together. And the most damning evidence, the night she claimed to be at a club party, she was with him the entire time. I couldn't believe it. The woman I had sacrificed so much for was betraying me. The PI told me that Sarah was currently with her affair partner in our home. Fueled by rage, I rushed home and found a blue Toyota parked in our driveway, the same car I had seen in the PI's pictures. My blood boiled as I entered the house. When I opened the bedroom door, I was greeted by a sight that made my stomach turn. Sarah was in bed with not one but 2 men. One was on top of her, and the other was engaging in something else. Sarah's hands were cuffed to the bed, wearing a revealing lingerie set. In that moment, I didn't know whom to hit first. I lunged at the blonde guy while the other scurried out of the room. My PI, who had followed me in, stopped me from going too far, possibly saving me from doing something I would regret. Sarah, still cuffed to the bed, started crying and begged for forgiveness. She even had the audacity to claim that she was rehearsing for a play. Enraged, I stormed out and told her to pack her things and leave the house by the time I returned. That night, I crashed at a friend's place. The betrayal burned deep, but I wasn't done. The next morning, Sarah was still at the house, pleading with me to listen to her. I kicked her out, throwing her belongings onto the lawn. Her remorse quickly turned into anger as she yelled insults at me before leaving. I was left with a broken heart, but I knew I had to move forward. I contacted a lawyer and began the divorce process. But before that, I wanted revenge. I had the video evidence of Sarah's betrayal, and I knew exactly what to do with it. I sent the footage to her director, exposing the affair. The director, who happened to be in a relationship with one of Sarah's lovers, was devastated. He fired both Sarah and her affair partner, effectively ruining the career she had worked so hard to build. Sarah called me endlessly after that, begging for forgiveness. But I was done. The divorce was finalized, and I moved on, knowing that I had taken control of my life once again. Sarah's world had crumbled, and she had no one to blame but herself. Story 2. I found out my wife was cheating with multiple men, and now I don't know what to do. My name is Daniel, 36M, and I've been married to Melissa, 34F, for 17 years. We have 3 kids and have been slowly restoring our old house over the last 2 years. Our financial situation isn't great, but we've always managed to stay afloat. Melissa is the only woman I've ever been with, and although our relationship hasn't been perfect, I never thought it would come to this. Over the past few months, I've noticed changes in Melissa. She's become more protective of her phone, and she's been going out with her friends more often. I thought she was just trying to blow off steam, but deep down, I had a sinking feeling that something was wrong. One night, I saw Melissa's phone password by chance, and my curiosity got the best of me. When I checked her messages, I discovered that she had been chatting with 2 foreign men, A and B, on Instagram. It wasn't just innocent conversation. They had been exchanging nude photos and sexual messages. To make matters worse, she had also kissed a man from a nearby town during a party earlier that summer. I confronted Melissa, and she broke down, admitting that she had been seeking validation from these men because she felt unattractive and thought I no longer loved her. She promised to cut all contact with them, and we decided to try counseling to save our marriage. For a while, things seemed to be getting better. But after our second counseling session, Melissa admitted to something I had feared all along. She had slept with one of the men. My heart shattered. I didn't yell or scream. I just froze. I'm now at a crossroads. I want to end the marriage, but our financial situation makes things complicated. I love Melissa, but I don't know if I can ever trust her again. The pain of betrayal runs deep, and I'm struggling to figure out what to do next.